So we have some farmers over there working. This is a nice area. I like it.
Yeah.
I really do.
Yeah, me too.
I would live in this kind of area.
Would you?
Maybe not here, but a place like it.
Place like it? With no people?
With no people.
In the farms of
Minimum
Minnesota or Wyoming or whatever. Montana.
You figured it out. That's my retirement plan.
I remember when I was watching the 2016 elections, I remember Montana as a state had 3 electoral college votes.
3?
Literally just 3. And I
Wow.
was like, what? That's like nothing compared to California's 55, you know?
Yeah.
So obviously goes to show you how little the population is up there. Small.
Yeah, there's hardly any.
Yeah, it's literally nothing.
You guys don't understand. Like, if you're here, there's so many people here.
Oh yeah.
There's just so many.
They're literally all over the place.
Going down the 60 right now, everyone's going to work, everyone's coming back.
Yeah.
There's people working around here.
Yeah.
I mean, even this parking lot's kind of full.
Yeah.
But
Pretty
it's,
much.
Yeah, and you can see houses along the hills over here. So much real estate going on. It's the place to be.
SoCal.
Yeah, I mean, look at it. It's nice.
That's nice.
Yeah, we're privileged.
We're privileged.
We'll admit it. We'll acknowledge it.
Yeah, I'll acknowledge that part. Yeah, just a little bit.
Just a bit. So yeah, here we are. Episode whatever.
19, 20, 21.
19, 15, 18. So we decided to not drive this time, given the audio quality.
Yeah.
It's kind of terrible.
Although this audio quality might not be that great.
It might be that great. We got the wind, and we've got the guys working in the back over there.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll see how it is.
Cool.
To be honest, not in part 3 of another episode. In the farms. We should do that actually. We should actually record different episodes at different locations.
Locations, that'd be nice.
Yeah, like one maybe like in a mall.
Okay.
But
where it's like super loud.
Where it's super loud. The most loudest you can get.
Yeah.
Next will be a festival.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. We'll see how it is.
So we're just gonna randomly have a chit chat.
A chit chat. How's that other channel going for you?
God.
Candid Chit Chats.
Candid Chit Chats. Not so great. We're not really following through with our plans to record.
Oh yeah?
Some of the guys just are not as dedicated, you know. Let's talk about that. Dedication and consistency, commitment, success.
Yeah.
You got to be dedicated to achieve your dreams. You got to stay consistent, you know, like Tony Robbins says.
Tony Robbins, that's right.
Or Jim Rohn.
One of those guys.
One of those guys. But I think a consistency is the key, right? Because you're not going to you have this like amazing energy when you're starting off something, but that state that you're in, that's an emotionally charged state.
Sure.
And those emotions, I mean, the root of the word emotion is emotion, meaning it's, what the hell was the root of the word? I think it was something like, it's always in motion, you know, it's always changing.
Sure.
So your emotions come and go. So you have to, it doesn't matter whether you feel like doing it or not. Yeah. Your emotions are not going to feel like it like 3 weeks from now. So you're just going to have to push through. Yeah. Be consistent. Yeah. Which I don't know if they understand. So I
think dedication is really, it's a measure of how serious you are in general. Because when you start out, when anyone starts out like a project, they have a hype attitude, right?
Yeah.
So there's a bunch of potential that you guys acknowledge. And then everyone gets so excited at the beginning, right? Because there's so much reward that can come from the project.
Right.
But a lot of people don't really acknowledge the
work.
I guess the work in general, like how long it's going to take. Because we had this idea of doing the podcast, and we kind of went off the rails on what it could be. It's like, oh, maybe we can have like guests on the show. Or maybe we're going to get our own facility like Joe Rogan.
Yeah.
So it won't be so a long time. Like this sitting right here will probably go on for like maybe 2 years. Yeah. Just us recording on the phone with these microphones, these exact microphones.
Oh, God.
He's like, oh my God, I don't want it to last that long. I want it to take off. Yeah. I mean, you're a recent YouTube enthusiast.
Yeah. I guess you could say that. I started my own YouTube channel where I just on screen I show visuals and talk about certain subjects, bring up like some evidence to back up what my point is, describe it, and then how at the end of the video I basically describe how one can apply this information to their life in a practical way.
Sure.
That's what the attempt is. And to bring light to this, to certain things that most people don't really think about.
Sure.
How, I guess in a way, it's like, you can read books about all this stuff, but who reads books nowadays, you know? It's
No
like
one does.
audiobooks or like podcasts, like the world is changing and it's shifting in this direction. So I feel like I have to, if I want to get any message across, I think if anybody wants to get a message across, they should be good at video and audio, because that's the future,
It's a very attractive kind of platform, especially on YouTube, right? So I think the reason why Joe Rogan has gotten so big is because it's genuine information from either it's exports or it's from like a common individual.
Yeah.
So people really want information, right? They just really don't really know how to get it.
Yeah.
And I think YouTube provides it in a way where it's easy to understand and it's very summarized and it's very entertaining at times.
Yeah, and
That's
also
attractive.
if you think about it, humans have not been reading for a long time. We've been reading for like what 500-600 years, and even then it wasn't accessible to most people anyways. So reading is not something that we're used to, but listening is something we've been used to for God knows, since the beginning of time.
Just talking in
since
general.
the beginning of our existence. But it's something that we're more attuned to listening. We're more attentive, I guess. So
that makes sense, because you can do anything when you're listening, to be honest. Because when I'm at home, I usually turn on a podcast when I'm like cleaning the house or I'm on my computer, or even when I'm eating too, which I'm doing right now.
Yeah.
I'm a fat boy. I weigh more than my brother-in-law, and he's kind of like a chubby individual.
Okay.
He'll admit it too.
Okay.
But he weighs like 210. I weigh like 215.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, and I don't look like it either.
Yeah.
So
how tall is he, by the way?
he's like 6 feet.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's around that range.
Okay.
I'm like 6'3".
Okay.
So I guess I'm like right in the ballpark
Right.
of being healthy
Yeah.
in respect to the chart.
Yeah.
But yeah, getting heavier because I'm working out more.
Nice.
But you're trying to, are you still cutting? Or are you gonna go?
So my general goal is to gain weight and gain muscle mass, right?
Which you have trouble doing, right?
Which, for a while for a long time I was having trouble doing, but eventually I started actually focusing on a few key things that literally changed my entire, the way that I approach everything.
Yeah.
So that's literally, I have to eat more.
Yeah.
That's something I wasn't even keeping track of. I'm vegetarian, so protein was obviously, I wasn't even tracking how much protein I was eating.
Yeah.
I was like, if I have like a 20-gram bar, if I have a bar of protein bar that's like 20 grams of protein, that should be enough. Like, come on, I'm eating extra protein, right? Not stopping to think and realize, like, they say the minimum you need is around 0.82 grams per pound of body weight.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
That's a lot.
Which is a good amount. It's a good chunk. Especially, and when you set goals of like, I want to get bigger.
Yeah.
And I want to actually gain muscle mass, you have to eat more.
Sure.
But when you want to lose fat, you have to eat less. And then you have to track your calories and your macronutrients. And you make strength progressions in the gym, and it just happens magically. You start to build mass, and that's it. And I'm just like, wow. Once you focus on a few things. But my overall goal has been to gain weight. I have gained weight. I gained 16 pounds since August, but some of that was fat, so I'm trying to cut back on that. I'm doing a mini cut. Okay. Mini cut meaning I'm almost done with the mini cut, actually.
The mini cut.
Yeah. And then I'm going to slowly ramp up the calories until I get to a solid, like, lean bulking state.
Yeah.
Where I have a decently low body fat percentage, and I'm just slowly going to gain weight over time. I'm not in any rush.
Okay.
I feel like I'm at a decent weight now. Before I was like even skinnier than I am, and I didn't like that.
Right.
So I wanted to gain weight quick. At this point, I think I'm okay if I gain weight slowly.
Yeah.
So at this point, I'm going to take it like maybe about 2 pounds a month, maybe a little bit less than 2 pounds per month of weight gain after I get back on my bulk.
That might take a while, to be honest, because people don't realize how hard it is to gain muscle in general.
Oh, yeah.
But it's so easy to gain fat.
Oh yeah, 100%.
It's incredibly easy. So it's like, what's going on here?
There's a key distinction there, 100%. And it's crazy because, here's one fact that they talk about, in literally every bodybuilder will tell you this. There are people who are like, dude, I eat like 5,000 calories every day, and I gain like 10 pounds in the month. It's like, well, that's not all muscle. Your body doesn't have the ability to generate more than like 2-3 pounds of muscle a month. And that's if you have good genetics. Sometimes it's even 1 pound a month, you know? So the process, the way you should do it is take it a little bit slowly. Otherwise, any excess calories that you take in will go straight to fat. So
Yeah.
It's windy. I don't know if the mics are going to pick that up.
It probably will, to be honest. I mean, we got to find a better way of recording this.
Yeah.
We're trying different things, people.
Yeah. Yeah.
See what works.
Definitely.
Because going back to working out and the muscle,
Yeah.
Some people, and I've met some of these people,
Yeah.
they do gain muscle just like that. Like, I think he went to Mount Sac, actually, which is down the street here.
Yeah.
He was from Guam.
Uh-huh.
And
I know who you were talking about.
Yeah,
Ron.
Ron. Yeah.
Ron. I remember.
He was the beefiest guy, and he told me I'll gain like 10 pounds of muscle like 2 months. I'm like, what? No way.
Yeah,
He's like,
yeah.
this is how I am. Genetics.
Genetics. Genetics plays a huge role. Yeah.
That is true.
Yeah.
I mean, I think most people, they want to cheat in general. Like they want to get the most muscle right away.
Yes.
And we're going to talk about steroids right now.
Yeah. Yes.
Because, even throughout high school, we've always been warned about the side effects of steroids and how they affect your body and how it's not natural. From what I know is that steroids, they do help.
Yes.
So they increase testosterone.
For the most part. There's some other steroids that do other things, but for the most part, I think from what I know about steroids, the bulk of them is exogenous testosterone.
Yeah.
So
I think most people have misconceptions about testosterone in general. And I just learned this today where you can literally take the steroids and do nothing and gain muscle.
More muscle sometimes than one of the studies than people who actually lift naturally and have their diet optimized and whatever.
Have their own work plan going out.
So it's literally cheating. It's like you're just sitting there like, cool, I'm just going to inject testosterone.
It is a form of cheating. That is true. But for some people it works, to be honest.
Yeah.
I guess it's just some people call it like a quick fix, maybe. So maybe take like a few steroids here and there and, work out more and get some more muscle mass and then continue a workout plan. But I've never taken steroids, nor do I plan to.
Me too. I have certain reasoning for it.
Same here. I'm scared about the side effects, to be honest.
Okay, yeah, that's number one for me also.
Yeah.
Number two is, I think part of, okay. I'm gonna dig deep into the roots here,
Sure.
okay? If I really analyze this, I think a lot of my confidence comes from the fact that, from successful things that I've done in the past.
Sure.
Whether it's, transfer to a good college or whatever the hell, grades, whatever, right?
Yeah.
That used to be the past case. But success in general, the fact that I am someone who can be disciplined and put in the hard work is something that really brings out the confidence. Because I know I am someone who can do things like this, If I set my mind to something, I can do it.
Sure.
So future success is likely to happen, therefore it generates more confidence. But how can I be confident if I cheated my way there? If there's no real solid grounding in my work ethic, it's not backed up, these results are not backed up by real solid work ethic. So I could be looking great aesthetically, because I take steroids, but if I didn't work to get that, if I don't know what it really takes to naturally get that, how can I expect my work ethic and discipline to transfer over to other aspects of life, like making money or doing whatever, right?
Yeah, it's that mentality that carries over, right?
Yeah.
That makes sense.
It's like, well, if I'm going to make a ton of money, how am I going to do it?
Yeah.
Well, I can go rob a store. That's cheating.
Yeah.
I can go rob a bank if I'm successful at it. That's cheating.
Yeah.
But what does it really take to create wealth?
Yeah.
To genuinely create wealth is you provide a service to society. You get paid for that.
Sure.
But the way you provide that service is by gaining skills, and the way you gain skills is by disciplining yourself and learning.
Yeah.
Right. Whether it's engineering or whatever the hell, right? But I think if you're using steroids, that's one way to just skip past all of that. And I would have I don't know, I just wouldn't feel good. Like there's a lot of insecurities that are inside, and the outside doesn't change the inside's insecurities, if that's the case.
Very deep, yeah.
So if let's say I spend all this time like trying to get down the proper dieting and this and that, despite whatever the hell the genetics are, I feel like that's just an excuse not to go get a decent body. It might take you longer, but if you're more disciplined, if you train yourself and whatever, and you track your calories, macros, whatever the hell, you really work on it. And if you see the results, that's where a lot of my happiness actually comes from.
Okay.
The general looking back at where I used to be and where I am now.
Sure.
And I think a lot of people are like that. I'm not saying everyone is, but a lot of people I can say are.
Yeah, I think most of the viewers can actually relate, because when it comes to having a habit of working out, it's so beneficial.
Yeah.
You feel better about yourself, how you look, but for the ones who really want to get shredded and they just want that physical physique, steroids is very appealing, right?
Yeah.
So it's a way, it's a straightforward ticket to that glory, to that fame.
100%, yeah.
And I think most Instagram models nowadays, they play around with chemicals here and there.
Oh yeah, 100%.
That's just how it is.
There was the guy who I learned all this stuff from, calories, strength progression, whatever, all that stuff. I follow his program. He recently started this movement. I don't know how well it's going to go, but he wants to. It's called Natty Verified. Okay, where he wants to basically get all these YouTube fitness people verified as to whether they're actually natural or not. Because what happens is a lot of these people, they take steroids, they get a great body, then they advertise themselves and they're like, dude, look at all these gains that I got. Like, you just gotta buy my little product, my little formula right here. And then like,
people fall for it. Yeah,
exactly. People fall for it, and they sell these products for a really high price, and they're bullshit, you know, because you didn't get those results from that product. You got it from steroids, you know.
Right.
So there's a test called the carbon isotope ratio test. Ratio? I don't know if ratio's in that test. It's carbon isotope test, something like that.
Test.
And so this detects exogenous testosterone in your body.
Sure.
That's not naturally produced by your testicles. But this is actually the test they use in Olympics to test whether someone is using it or not.
Oh, okay.
And so they say so basically that's what it is. Like, these YouTube people would have to get it verified. They would have to get a certificate for it, I guess, and post that certificate. I'm natural. Now, the problem with that is we don't know how good that test is. We don't know because there's other forms of steroids too.
That's true.
Right? Like, it's not just testosterone. Then the second problem is people cycle on and off steroids, and it goes out of their body, you know. But they still have the muscle mass from steroids that they used years ago, or whatever it is, you know, or time before that. So there's a few different problems, but he's trying to get that figured out, and he's trying to like put money, $10,000 or more money into this movement to like get people natural and verified, so that you can go. He says, you don't have to. I don't give a fuck if you want to use steroids or not. Like, that's up to you. Yeah. You know, if you want to, go ahead, but don't advertise yourself as someone who is natural. You know, you can still be on steroids. You can still have your YouTube channel, sell your products and whatever, but people should know that you're not natural.
That's a good point.
Yeah,
it really is.
Transparency.
Yeah. It's, I don't know, man, because the whole Instagram platform in general, it's such a bunch of fakeness. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a lot of narcissistic people just trying to show themselves off and create a brand, themselves as a brand and a lifestyle that they're trying to sell.
Yeah.
It's all a market game, to be honest.
Yeah.
I mean, because when it comes to, cheating in general, in terms of the physical field, it's not really healthy in general. Yeah. How it can affect you and your body, because everyone has their own reaction to these type of chemicals. Yeah. Because I know my dad, he used to be a boxer, and he was all natural. But when it comes to people taking steroids and they end up fighting, there's a huge disadvantage in that kind of field.
100%.
But that's in the fighting world, and I'm pretty sure it's banned in the MMA.
Yeah.
But I mean, steroids, I guess it's a common thing. Do you really think people are taking it left and right?
It's more common than we realize.
I would probably agree. I wouldn't be so surprised if it was.
That's what Nick tells me, actually. One of our friends. He tells me that he's in the fitness industry and he's a trainer himself. Okay. So he's like, it's more common than you think. Yeah. more all these fitness trainers and you
I can't
see
really
people at the
point it
gym.
out, to be honest. Like when I go to the gym, I can't really say like that guy takes steroids and that one doesn't.
Yeah. No, a lot of people can't, right? Like
Yeah.
there's a fine line sometimes between it. Sometimes it's very obvious, like this guy's like obviously taking tons of steroids, right?
5'3"
Because they're like
guy.
freaking massive. Like it's not. There's no way you can naturally get that fucking massive, you know.
Yeah.
But there are ways to hide that, I guess, you know. So.
Yeah. That's how it is.
Yeah.
I mean, the whole gym culture life really hit America hard in the past couple decades.
Yeah.
So, I mean, even nowadays, you have yoga increasing in just membership overall.
Yoga?
Yoga,
Okay.
yeah. And other fitness lifestyles, I guess.
Yeah.
But, what was I trying to make here? Just being active in general. People really want to show that they're physically maybe better. Maybe they want to show off that they have this type of body that they really don't have. That's pretty much the internet.
Yeah.
People just don't like themselves in general. That's what I would argue.
Yeah, I think it's an unrealistic standard to set because, and I watched this one video, great YouTuber. He's, again, same information, like strength progressions, whatever, calorie macro, but different guy. And this guy, he made a video recently that got one of the highest likes to dislike ratios, by the way, that I've seen. And because he made a very good point in the video. What he was saying is that if you have a decent amount of muscle mass on you, just like a decent amount, not anything crazy, and if your body fat percentage is like in the mid-teens, meaning like you're between, like you're around 15-14%, let's say, body fat wise.
Sure.
You are already in the top 1 to 3% of society's body standards.
Okay.
That's literally what he was saying. And it is true but we don't realize it. He's like, go outside and look at it. Take 100 random guys and you will see that that's typically around like where you're going to land. It's because we're constantly bombarded with Instagram, like you were saying, all the models and YouTube people that show us a certain type of body. We're so focused on that we don't really see anything else. And on top of that, we think our bodies are not great. The other people think like, okay, that guy's a lot more in shape than I am, so wow, he has a good body. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So to the outside, it may seem like wow, that guy has a good body, but to that person, that same guy, he's gonna think like, damn, I'm at 15% body fat. I should be down to 12%. It's like they get all obsessed with this, like, with these numbers.
The obsession really builds.
100%.
Yeah.
And that takes a detriment to your confidence as well. So
That is true. Most girls experience that daily.
oh yeah, dude.
It's huge.
Oh yeah.
I mean, they're kind of, I guess, obsession with that kind of physique and that look and that comparison is off the charts compared to guys. Bless you.
Thank you.
That's interesting though. If you would take 100 random guys, like in society, where would we rank? In respect to
The fitness scale.
the fitness scale?
To be honest, I'm not too sure.
I'm not too sure either, to be honest.
No idea.
I would definitely be, I don't know, top 50
Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah?
Yeah.
in terms of ranking.
Yeah. After the past few months, I would say so for sure. Because you've been working out also.
Guys, I've been working out. I don't know, because that's a really good point. Like, you don't even look in your own neighborhood and compare yourself to like other guys.
No, you're always comparing yourself to like, oh my god, the guy with the 6-pack abs.
Yeah, on Instagram or on YouTube, and like, oh, I gotta have that, or my body's so bad.
Yeah.
I gotta start, working out and things like that.
100%.
That is crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, I used to be fat back in high school, but then I started losing weight over time when I started working out. I never had that mentality of comparing myself often. Like, you go on Instagram every now and then, like, oh, that guy's jacked. Like, no shit. Because, they do it for a living.
Yeah.
Right? And for most people in America, I don't think they really care about the other guy on Instagram who's like jacked, or like Terry Crews. Who else is like a big jacked guy? Chris Evans. those kind of models.
Yeah.
I don't think they really care how they can apply themselves in respect to the workout. So what I'm trying to say is they see a bunch of models and they don't really want to go through the work.
Yeah.
Because it's very hard to be at that kind of level. So they'll do whatever they can. They'll cheat the system.
Right.
They'll get steroids. They'll buy all these other products, like the powder products. I forget what they're called, but it's like
BCAAs.
Something like that. You used to get them, didn't you?
Yeah. Well, BCAAs are different. I think BCAAs actually like work to a certain degree on a cut.
Yeah.
They don't. You shouldn't be taking them. There's not really necessary like on a bulk.
Yeah.
But if you're so the idea behind BCAAs is that they're branch chain amino acids, right? Amino acids are the compounds that are made protein is made of, right? So on a cut, the main idea is that on a cut you're going to decrease your calories by a lot, right? Sure. You go from a calorie surplus, you subtract it down to your maintenance, and you subtract even more to get down to your deficit, right? Okay. So you're already in a state where your body needs fuel because you're below the maintenance that your body needs for energy. Sure. So where does it get that fuel from? It gets it from stored body fat. But if you go too low in calories, it'll take it from muscle also. So it'll tear apart your muscle.
Right, you can't go over, yeah.
Right, so you don't want to go down to that end.
Yeah.
But you always are at risk of losing muscle mass. So the idea is if you don't get enough protein in on one day, let's say your diet is fucked up or whatever, you can just take some of that powder, branch chain amino acids, and essentially, so there's I think 8 or 9 essential amino acids that your body needs. Yeah. And then there's 20 total ones. And some of those your body produces on its own. And then some of them your body has to get from sources like eggs, quality protein.
Quality protein.
So if you don't get quality protein sources in, you can take branched chain amino acids.
Okay.
But I mean, those are not really necessary. They're a complement if you're on a cut and if you fucked up your diet 1 or 2 days here and there, so you can take those.
Yeah, diet's another thing. That's an incredibly hard topic, or just a hard skill for most people.
Yeah.
Because that's like, everyone has their own diet and everyone tries to get their diet, or they try to get you on their diet.
Right.
I always have those kind of friends.
100%.
It's like, oh, this works for me, it's gonna work for you, bro.
Yeah.
I don't want to drink that 5-pound green shake. I don't.
I know. Oh man,
so strange. And everyone has their own style of dieting because everyone's body's so different.
Dude, yeah, there's like 50,000 different diets out there, and they all say like, oh, you got to go on the keto diet, you got to go on the paleo diet,
you got to go diet, yeah.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, from what I've learned is that they say that there's only 2 things that really matter, and this is what all those diets have in common, and it's why they work. Mm-hmm. But you have to experiment with those diets because some will work for some people, some will not work for others because of their different body types and different genetics. Mm-hmm. It even actually, what I've heard also is that based on your genetics and where you came from, the region of the world that you came from, the people that your ancestors had a specific type of diet. Mm. So their diet was like maybe higher in carbs or higher in fats or maybe higher in proteins, right? Okay. So that affects your body for generations onward, which is, why you have certain genetics per se, let's say, right? So that's why some diets like the keto diet, which is you take carbs out of the diet pretty much down to like almost 0%, like 5% of your diet is like carbs, right? The rest is just fats and proteins. That works for a lot of people whose bodies are made for that, But at the end of the day, what it really comes down to is calories in and out for the most part. Yeah. And your macronutrients, your proteins, fats, and carbs. Literally, that's it. And then if you want to get more in depth, then it's your vitamins, minerals, micronutrients, whatever.
Yeah, potassium, iron, things like that.
100%, yeah. But from what I know, if you can master the calories and macros, which becomes very easy once you can track it, once you can master those, you can change your body much more easily. Mm-hmm. And you get a much healthier, balanced diet when you start to track what you're really eating. I didn't realize how little protein I was taking in before I actually started tracking.
When you started tracking, yep.
Right,
that's a big surprise.
Exactly. So that's one thing that they all have in common, right? That's what it is.
That's a very, it's a very complicated thing.
Yeah. Dieting
in general, like there's majors on it, like nutrition, what's the best diet.
Right.
I agree with what you were saying. So specific type of people, when they have ancestors that have a specific diet that transfers over to the current generation, that does make sense actually. Because I've seen people go full meat and they don't gain like any fat. It's just pure muscle, and they work out too.
Yeah.
So it's very strange how hold on, people.
We got a hurricane coming in.
Oh no.
So a tornado. We're in the farms. We really are in the farms.
That is true. In the Midwest right now, there's a bunch of tornadoes actually, and it's 1,000 times worse than this.
Oh yeah.
That's crazy. We'll get that in a sec.
Yeah.
But I want to finish my thought. So for the dieting, each generation has their own specific type of diet. That's kind of weird. Like, even if you break it down by race, can we do that?
Oh yeah, I don't mind. So I was gonna actually do that in a bit. I was gonna do that.
When it comes to most Hispanic people, you know, it's a very meat type of diet.
Yes.
So there's a lot of meat. There's a lot of sauce, a lot of sauces. There is a lot of carbs in general. So they have a lot of tortillas. They have a lot of very, very fatty type of foods too. Beans, rice, different types of sauces, chips, things like that. For Asians though, it's kind of really different. It's like a grain type of diet.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
So one of my friends who's really into fitness, like Nick's younger brother actually.
Okay.
Super educated about everything fitness, health. Like he follows every bodybuilder possible, learns everything that you can, optimizes everything, whatever, you know, the whole shebang, whatever. So what he was saying is, he was giving advice to me about like what diet I should sort of go for. Okay, so there's a few key components. Everyone has to have a certain amount of protein when you're bodybuilding, right? Based on whether your ancestors had a high source of protein or not, based on how much meat they ate or whatever, that's gonna affect you, right? But the two things that you wanna really mess around with in different ratios are your fats and carbs. Your body will respond differently from fats and carbs, mainly based on body type. There's 3 different body types: ectomorph, mesomorph, endomorph.
Yep. I knew that.
There's so based on your body type, you have different insulin sensitivity. Insulin is a different hormone. Okay. The second you eat carbs, your insulin goes up.
Okay. Yeah.
And it helps certain processes, right? By the way, I claim I'm not a health professional. I learned all this from YouTube and bodybuilders.
Stop calling your lawyers right now. Put the phone down.
But I can show you the research later. But so based on that, you want to mess around with the fats and carbs.
Okay.
What he told me was, based on my diet, based on my ethnic background, my ancestors used to eat a lot of carbs, right? And fats. A little bit fats here and there.
Hardly any meats.
Hardly any, because I'm vegetarian and my ancestors were vegetarian, especially in that area too.
Yep.
Okay. So then there's that. But he said your body will respond much better to carbs than fats. All right. You obviously have to get a certain amount of fats in for proper hormonal functioning. Sure. To optimize testosterone, whatever. But that's what it is. He said for himself, he's Hispanic. He's like, yeah, well, for Asians, it's like you were saying, it's more of a carb-based, you know, type of diet. For Hispanics, for white people, for black people, there was, generally speaking, more meat incorporated into their diet. Meat has typically fats and proteins, right? So slightly less carbs, but slightly more fats and proteins. So that ends up changing your genetics, you know, especially if you eat that diet over and over for thousands of years or whatever.
It goes back a long time.
Right. Your body adapts and changes accordingly. Yep. But so you want to optimize your diet by looking at your ethnic background and playing around with the carbs and fats.
All right.
Which is crazy to think about.
That's crazy to think about, yeah.
And it's difficult. Like, I'm sure people are like, how the hell am I going to start doing that? You know, but just test it out. Test out what works, you know.
All right, cool. Brought to you by Ancestry.com.
I know, right? God. We're not, this is not a sponsored
this is not sponsored.
Podcast.
We won't be sponsored for a while. That's the thing though. People they provide a service, it's $100 I think, where they can actually tell you where your ancestors are from. Yeah. Ancestry.com. Yeah. So it's called the DNA test, something like that. But they have a service and you just send them a swab of your saliva. Yeah. Send it to them and they'll send you some results. And some people find some really interesting results. Right. Yeah. Where do you think you're from? Like what part of India?
Good question. I know I would be shocked, as most people would be. I feel like, okay, I'll tell you this. There are some people that I know.
Some people?
Sorry, it's just kind of loud. There are some Indian people that I've met. They look exactly like, I knew one girl. She looked exactly like her brother, facial structure-wise, everything else. Her brother looked Indian. She did not. She had blonde hair, blue eyes.
Okay.
How did that happen? But her facial structure looks exactly like his. I'm guessing somewhere along, because the British colonized India for 300 plus years.
They were there for a while. Yeah.
I'm assuming that somewhere along the line, there was a British dude or someone in there. It just mixed the genes in somewhere, and that, you know how like genes are, they're recessive or dominant, I think it is, right?
So he was dominant, obviously.
I guess so. So, dominant, alpha male.
Had to go there.
Oh, man. But that gene might have been passed down somewhere, and I guess it became dominant within her, and it came out. But it was always there, recessive in her ancestors before. But, you know, that sort of thing happens all over the place. I, myself, I'm not sure where I'm from. I don't look typically like your typical Indian.
You don't really.
Yeah.
No.
That's usually when people ask me, what are you? I usually tell them, like, take a guess, right? They almost never guess Indian.
Oh,
almost
really?
never. It's the number one answer I always get is Middle Eastern.
Oh, wow.
The second one is Mexican. And the third one is Indian.
Sure.
There's a couple people who have gotten Indian, but that's because they were Indian or from that area themselves, and they knew that by the name, you know, by my name, that I was Indian. But generally speaking, I don't look typical Indian because number one, skin tone. That's like the main thing. Skin
it's not
tone,
dark at all.
It's not really dark, right? Nope. Compared to the typical Indian would be.
Yeah.
For whatever reason it is. So that might indicate some, I guess, ancestry difference. I don't know. Maybe that's the one factor I can consider.
Sure.
If not that, then I'm Indian. But that's what they used to call me. That's what my Indian people in high school that I knew would always say, like, dude, like, you're literally, if it wasn't for that one girl that I was telling you about, the blonde girl. Yeah. Like, they would always call me, like, dude, you're like the lightest skinned Indian, you know, like you're like a whitewashed Indian kind of a
thing. You're really
you know?
like an alien.
I'm like an alien.
That's
I'm not
weird.
even Indian, but I'm 100% like my type of Indian too, Gujarati, which is like a specific type of Indian.
Okay.
But I can't say. I don't know. I don't know where exactly my ancestry lies.
It's always really tricky.
Yeah.
You have connections from like all around the world.
Yeah.
I mean, in a way, everyone's connected, and like we all have similar ancestors.
Right.
Like back like millions of years ago.
Right. 70,000 years ago, actually.
Oh, really?
According to the theory.
That was way off.
Oh, but if it's not, okay, remember the two conflicting theories we talked about on that one episode of the podcast?
I think so. Remind me.
Yes. Oh, okay, let's get into this. Okay. So, so scientists evolutionary scientists.
Is this about the African Americans?
Yeah, there's Homo sapiens and all that.
Yeah, okay, you've told me about that,
Yeah, you want to get into it?
It's up to you.
I'll
already know.
Basically explain it, yeah. I'll just basically, it depends on if they saw that episode.
Yeah.
I'll go into the basics of it. So 70,000 years ago, Homo sapiens left East Africa, but people don't know that we're not the only human species. So generally, animals are categorized into genus and then species.
Yep.
And then it goes into a deeper thing like family and whatever, right?
Sure.
But generally speaking, genus and species. A genus, Homo, means human.
Yeah.
Species, sapiens, we're sapiens, right? Sapiens means wise one.
Yep.
So there were other human species out there before. We're typically, I think, so what they say is we're all pretty much Homo sapiens nowadays.
Sure.
But before there were other races like Homo erectus, Homo neanderthalensis, Homo floresiensis, all these other different human species out there.
Yeah.
So here's the thing, Homo sapiens, East Africa.
Sure.
70,000 years ago they left to explore the world.
Yeah.
But the other human species, Homo erectus, Homo neanderthalensis, whatever, they went out before, long time before, like 100,000 years before that.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
They explored the world. They're all in their different parts. Homo erectus is in like the Chinese, Korean region. Homo neanderthalensis is in the European region, right? And then there's other areas in the world that other human species are in.
Yep.
So there's two conflicting theories. One, Homo sapiens left East Africa 70,000 years ago, and they ventured out into the world through Saudi Arabia. And one theory is they outcompeted the other humans in terms of resources. So they took all the resources in the environment, and the other humans starved, and they just wiped them out because we had better technology, we were smarter a little bit, slightly wiser, yes. Slightly wiser. I guess we had better communication is the main key from what this theory says, because we had better language and communication apparently.
Sure.
And with that communication came better cooperation, and so we got the resources. Yeah. So they got wiped out. Part of the same theory is that maybe the resources were not what wiped them out. We committed mass genocide, and we wiped them all out.
Yeah.
And then we expanded into the world, and here we all are, Homo sapiens. The second theory, which is where it gets, what's the word? Controversial, is that we did not wipe them out, but we split up Homo sapiens into the different parts of the world, and we mixed and matched with the different species that were already there.
Yeah.
And then we went down the line, and here we have all the different races. So we're saying if Homo erectus was in the area of the Chinese, of the area of the China and Korea and whatever, right? Chinese and Korean people would be descended from a mix of Homo sapien and Homo erectus. White people would be a mix of Homo sapien and Homo neanderthalensis. So we are literally, this is breeding grounds for racism, right? So that's why the scientific community wanted to reject this theory. They're like, we don't want to get involved in politics. This is a politically correct thing to get into.
Yeah.
So we're gonna reject the second theory. We're gonna go with the first one.
Everyone dies.
Everyone dies. We committed mass genocide, and here we all are. We're all Homo sapiens. Period.
Straightforward. That's it.
But in 2010, they had research done where they mapped the human genome, human. Keep that in mind. So it could be any of the humans.
Anyone.
And Homo neanderthalensis, they actually mapped enough of the genome to be able to get the DNA samples and whatever.
Yeah. Old science.
Right. So they found that in certain white people, they said in the white population or something like that, in a certain part, 1 to 4%. I think it was 1 to 4% of the DNA is the same as Homo neanderthalensis.
1 to 4.
1 to 4%. Yes. Meaning maybe it wasn't like a mass breeding, but there was partial breeding. Meaning some of them got extinct.
Yeah.
And some of them were, like, I guess, migrated into our tribes and became part of us.
Sure.
And just mixed and matched and breeded, and we went down. For the most part, we're all Homo sapien, but there's little traces and whatever of DNA that have been found from this other one. And research continues today, and we're not really 100% sure about where we stand. So if it is the truth, we can, if that second theory is true, we are literally different species. The different races are different species, which is grounds for massive racism.
Yeah,
you know?
That means they're completely different overall. Like they have their own traits, they have their own ideas, things like that.
Different ways of breeding, different ways of what?
There's a bug there. There you got it.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a very controversial idea and theory overall.
Yeah.
Would you agree with that theory?
I can't say I would or wouldn't because, but I do believe that the races evolved slightly differently because
I think with those two, to be honest. There's got to be some way of difference back then.
100%. I think that can explain a lot of the genetic differences we see too.
Yeah.
But keep in mind, even if we're all pure Homo sapiens, let's say.
Yeah, but people will call out racism right there as there's differences if it's different races.
Dude, that's bullshit, dude. I've called bullshit.
I would argue that each race has their own benefits overall.
Yeah.
There's different characteristics that each one has. It's undeniably evident.
Yes.
So, most Africans are in sports.
Yeah.
But those are the ones who are the most
physically, like,
the best.
Yeah, the best. Yeah.
So Michael Jordan, you have Stephen Curry, Magic Johnson, you have Shaq.
Yeah.
So most of them dominate the fitness world in general.
Yeah.
And when it comes to the academia world, well, most of the individuals are Asians.
Right. Yeah.
I am generalizing a lot, to be honest, and people will call me out.
Yeah.
But it's almost evident to see that there's specific types of congregations of races and specific types of institutions.
Right. And it's not like we're saying that all the top players are of one thing, because like for the examples you gave, right? Like let's say Yao Ming, basketball player, he's
That's
Asian,
true.
right?
Yeah.
In the academic field, we have Neil deGrasse Tyson, he's black.
He's
right?
black, yeah.
But generally speaking, I think you're right. If you look at it on the mass scale, most of it is categorized in that way.
It's interesting, yeah.
So there's been one study that I remember that talks about the differences in hormonal levels between the races. And this specific study it categorized Asians, whites, and blacks, okay? And it went into testosterone levels specifically. From what I remember in the study, black people had on average 19% higher testosterone levels than white people. Mm-hmm. I don't remember the difference between the whites and the Asians, but there was a difference there too. So Asians typically had the lowest testosterone levels, then it went on to white people, and then it went on to black people. But that 19% increase in testosterone, bless you. Bless you.
Sorry, go ahead.
No problem. But that 19% increase in testosterone levels, in that same study they found black people have twice as high of a risk of prostate cancer.
Oh, wow.
Because of that. But how do these differences come about? Even if we're all Homo sapiens, let's say we're all pure, the first theory is correct. We still had 70,000 years apart in different regions of the world with different diets, different environments, and we had to, we evolved.
We adapted differently.
Adapt differently over 70,000 years.
Sure.
So there are biological differences, you know. Does that mean we can't be all treated fairly and equally? No, obviously not. We should be.
Yeah.
But we're all going to have strengths and weaknesses. And that could be due to genetic factors.
It could be.
It could be.
There are theories out there that support it. So,
yeah.
You know, it's at least consider it. That's what I'm saying, to be honest. Because nowadays the political platform is so polarized and it's so subjective and it's so toxic. You know, everyone's the same. You can't have this kind of argument because it's racist, and you just want to support the patriarchy and things like that.
Yeah.
So, research is still being done, right?
Yeah.
Ideas are still being thrown around, and discussions are still being had.
Yeah.
So you can't just shut people down in general.
Right.
This whole idea of cancel culture, when it comes to those kind of scientists, it's anti-progress in general.
Yeah.
That's not a good thing.
Yeah.
We can't reach that point in society where we don't make progress at all based on internal issues that seem, I don't know, moral or immoral.
Yeah.
Not to say that we should sacrifice morality in respect to progress.
Right.
But you can't shut down every type of theory out there that doesn't, I don't know, align with leftist ideas or radical ideas. Yeah.
It's if you're gonna do, the idea is to seek the truth, right?
Yeah.
And in order to seek the truth, you have to consider many different possibilities.
Yeah.
The differences between the races may not all be biological. Some of them might be due to social structures, right?
That could be it.
But it could be a balance between the two, right? On one end, you have people that say it's all biological. On the other end, you have people who say it's all social society structured, it's all systemic racism and all that. It could be a balance between the two. We don't know where that balance lies.
Yeah.
I typically tend to err more on the side of the biological end, slightly more so.
Well, it's the most measurable type of field,
I would say so.
That can be applied.
Most easily measurable, I would say.
That's true, yeah. Most data that can be obtained from that kind of method.
Yeah.
So, we're not experts, just to say it again.
Yeah.
There's a couple of guys having their own ideas, talking about them.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, the politics nowadays, it's so toxic, and it's so...
Yeah.
I've never seen it like this, to be honest. And I wouldn't think I would live in this kind of day, or this kind of, I guess, decade, where, politics is so radical. It's so chaotic. It's literally a bunch of, I guess, people who are seeking power in general. So Democrats, they've become so different nowadays. My dad has told me.
Yeah.
Over the years, over the decades.
Yeah.
Because back then they didn't support abortion.
Oh, really?
Yeah. That's what I was told.
So that wasn't even a debate back then, or both Republicans and Democrats supported.
I think they
life.
both. Yeah, it was pro-life.
Okay.
Like, I think back in the 50s. I think what it was.
Okay.
That was before the birth pill and everything like that. Before the 60s. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, everything has really changed overall in America, the politics-wise. I didn't think it would get this polarized.
Yeah.
So you have radical leftists and radical rights. It's a sad scene. People can't agree on anything. They always find something to disagree on and they get mad about that.
Yeah.
And when it comes to how active this political field is, it only takes one state to make one statement about abortion and everyone blows up. Everyone starts inputting their own ideas, how it's immoral. Everyone gets fired up. Everyone gets very radical. And the state I'm referring to is Alabama, where they passed an abortion law where it's illegal to commit any abortion.
Okay, I have something to say about that.
The doctors.
So
they get the crime.
I know, right? Yeah. From what I heard, Netflix has vowed to take away a huge chunk of investment. I don't know exactly what that means, but investment from Alabama because of this law that was passed.
Okay.
I think that's total bullshit because companies should not get themselves involved in things that are not regarding themselves. Why is it that Netflix, a company that provides entertainment through streaming services and whatever, movies, TV shows, has to get involved with anything about abortion? Does everyone in your company support your point of view, or are they only supporting your point of view so that you don't get fired like James Damore did with his Google memo?
Yeah.
That's corruption right there.
Yeah, that's a type of brainwashing. That's a type of just control overall.
Yeah.
That's not good from the employees.
Yeah.
Because I would argue that most employees at companies like Google, Twitter, YouTube, and also, what were we talking about? Which company?
Netflix.
They feel controlled. They feel caged up. They can't really go against the group thinking or the ideal.
Yeah. Groupthink, I think that's what it is, yeah.
That's what it is. It's job security nowadays. That's so strong, especially in academia too. We were talking about that. Because people are so afraid to lose their position in any way. And when they lose their position, they lose their power. It's getting louder. They're getting closer, by the way.
Yeah. I can tell.
Yeah. Job security is a big thing. Because nowadays, politics is really, it's infecting a lot of institutions in general. It's already gotten to the universities.
Yeah.
It's already gotten to, I would say, most public schools, workforce, things like that. It's everywhere. You can't escape it.
And this reminds me, I had a friend, and you actually know this friend, I'm not going to say his name.
Okay.
We don't know him too well, but back when we were at Mount Sac, I'm sure you might have met him.
Uh-huh.
He was not an avid, but he was a supporter of Donald Trump. And he didn't say this out loud. Him and I would just talk about it because I was open to his ideas. I wasn't like criticizing him, right?
Sure.
So he was open to actually talking to it about it to me. Whereas most people who are supporters are going to hide that fact from other people because they're afraid of being criticized and whatever, right?
Okay.
So this guy, he says, I would totally vote for him, this, that. This is during election cycle. Then when we were together in a group, we were talking about politics, and he outwardly denounces Donald Trump. And he's like, I hate the guy, I totally voted for Hillary. And it's like, what the fuck, dude? You literally just told me the opposite.
Yeah.
You're so fake. I don't know what the real situation is behind the scenes, but it's to fit into the group, I would say.
It's a very powerful factor.
Yeah.
That affects a lot of guys.
Yeah.
And a lot of girls too.
Yeah.
Because it's not that we think that Donald Trump is like the savior of America.
Yeah.
We just think that we want to keep that type of political conservatism, I say.
Yeah.
So we don't want, I guess most Republicans nowadays, they vote for Donald Trump because he was so popular and how he manipulated the media, how he became so, controlling over his image, his entertainment. Most people supported him because he was such a powerful force against the left.
Yeah. Against political correctness and all that.
Exactly, yeah. I don't think most people support him because they think he's a great guy.
I think so too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so too.
It's like, oh, we love what we did. No, I don't think they do. I don't like him in general, like as a person.
Yeah.
Because he seems like a very uptight businessman, which has made him successful.
Yeah.
But he can't really connect to the working class in general.
Yeah.
But, you know,
he attempts to, but but it's like you can sympathize with them. You can't empathize because you haven't been in that position.
Right, because he's been in this type of lifestyle all his life where he's connected with a bunch of rich individuals and he's part of corporate America.
I would argue that he represents the American dream to a lot of people.
To a lot of people, he does. Because, you know, he's gone through a lot of failures in general, and he's always been a part of the American economy. So, yeah. To ask the question right now, do you support Donald Trump?
I support him because he's our president. Now, that goes for anybody who is our president. I'm not going to outwardly protest someone who is, you know, I don't know. Here's the thing, right? If he's the president, I'm not going to already put more pressure on him than he already has.
That's true. That's a very stressful
It's
job.
like, dude, like you have the greatest responsibility in the world.
In the world.
In the world.
In the history of the world, actually.
History of the world. Yeah. How can you take all this hate that half your country has given you and the stresses that come along with having that job?
Yeah.
That's freaking difficult. So I commend him for that. But I'm not necessarily in massive support of him. But I do like the fact that he is such a strong figure. I like that fact.
Yeah.
That is one thing that I appreciate about him.
I think people are too... Sorry, go ahead and finish.
No, that's pretty much it.
People are so interested in the president in general, like the federal level control figure. People never...
Focus on the others?
Yeah, they never focus on the local communities, never focus on local government in general.
Yeah.
People where they live and how that can affect them more than policies that the president passes. Because something about this high status position gets everyone thinking that they can do it better or they know what's right.
Yeah, see...
It's like, well, what do you think the president should do? Well, he should do this, this, and this.
Yeah, it's like
oh, really? You got it all figured out, huh?
Yeah, I know, right? Like, it's that simple, huh? Okay, why don't you try running the country and the world?
Yeah, there's always that response from people.
It's like, dude, come on.
Yeah, people get hyped up. That's really what it is.
Yeah,
I mean, it's that level of power that gets people that's full of excitement, I suppose.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I just, my thoughts on it are that...
Yeah.
I just don't... My thing about Donald Trump was more against Hillary Clinton.
That's true. Most people, it was like that.
Yeah. And against the left, more so.
That's true.
But generally speaking.
They played very dirty. And they played more dirtier as the years go by.
Yeah.
I think politics has gotten more nasty over time, actually.
Yeah. It's funny because a lot of people would argue that the right plays more dirty. And I'm like, I don't think so, dude. I really don't think so. Based on what I've seen...
He disagrees completely.
I've seen the left play a lot more dirty than... And they play the main argument that they always go back to, which is such intellectually lazy argument.
Is it the race card?
Huh?
Is it the race card?
Well, identity politics in general.
Oh, okay.
Identity politics, yeah.
That's always...
Race, sex, whatever, you know. It's like, okay, I get that, dude. Like, you want to eradicate all these differences. How do you go about doing
diversity,
that?
things like that. Yeah. I mean, diversity is a big thing in America. We can agree on that.
It's a great thing.
Yeah, it's a great thing because throughout history, it's always been a congregation of every culture.
Yeah.
That can make a sanctuary here in America.
The melting pot.
The melting pot. It's the best pot ever in America.
Seriously, yeah.
So nowadays, people really push that agenda more than ever. So that melting pot's not big enough, right? It needs to be bigger. We need to have more people coming in. And with that in mind, we have to keep in mind the security of the country itself. Because let's scale it down, right? Sure. Would you accept a bunch of like random people from another country into your house or your neighborhood? Probably not.
Yeah, probably not. But I would selectively allow people to come in, you know?
Right, yeah, people would be selective about it.
Yeah. And it's not like I'm saying no completely, right? But I am saying no to just open borders,
just
completely.
open fences, yeah.
Hey, man, come on in.
Come on into my neighborhood where I sleep, yeah.
It's because, you know, okay, I think you have to look at it more on a symbolic level, okay? People get all riled up because it's like, do you not know what other people are going through in other countries and the situations that they go through?
Yeah.
They come to America for a greater opportunity and everything.
Yeah.
Yes.
That is true.
That is 100% true.
It does suck out there.
It sucks out there.
Yeah.
Yet when we criticize those countries, you're like, oh my God, you can't criticize their culture. Like, that's their country. You can't say that about them.
Okay.
It's like, okay, which one is it then? Are you saying that America is good and that other people want to come to it? Or are you saying that America is not good and that other cultures and other countries are better?
Yeah.
Like, there's so much hypocrisy if you really dig out all the bullshit, you know?
Yeah.
So here's the thing. Symbolically, having borders represents the maintenance of ideas.
Okay.
Okay, what I mean by that is, along this border, beyond this border, people live here that live by a certain set of rules. If you want to live by those set of rules, feel free to come on in. If you're going to be a good, productive member of that area.
Yeah.
If you are not going to be, if you want to bring in your own ideas from the rest of the world, okay, which may not necessarily be the best ideas.
For the community itself.
For that community, right? Because it's like someone who's raised in communist China, let's say.
Sure.
All their life, and they're hardcore communist.
Yeah.
They want to come to America.
It's all about collectivism and things.
Collectivism,
bring that idea into here.
Exactly.
Let's change. This is how we did it, so we should do it. It's like, well.
Yeah, and if they become a voting citizen, they have rights to change this country.
Right.
The foundation stones, and that's not a bad thing. We need new ideas all the time to keep growing, but there's a balance that needs to be struck. There's a lot of things in the past that be kept.
Sure.
We need to conserve these. That's why we have conservatives. But we need to liberate from those ideas too, which we have liberals, right?
Yeah.
It's, again, balance between the two.
Yeah.
You need to debate and you need to have conversations, which we're not having nowadays. Nowadays, political debates are just about, I'm right, no, I'm right. Here are the stats, no, here are the stats.
Yeah.
And it's like, all right, dude, confirmation bias, like, you know. But here's the point. Symbolically, it represents the idea of other ideas penetrating your system.
Yeah. Which
you have to guard against. So if America's foundation stones were based on, I saw an image of a political scale, no government control to total government control, and we have libertarians who want very little government control. The founding fathers are actually more libertarian than Republican or Democrat. Republican or Democrat is more on the edge, more on the side of government control, right? So we have libertarians who want very little government control.
Yeah. Republicans
who want slightly more government control, but in the sense of like military and world hegemony and dominance,
foreign
right?
relations, yeah.
Yeah, foreign relations. Then we have Democrats on more government control, because government should be allowed to come in, tax people and take away their wealth and redistribute according to whatever they see fit.
Yeah.
And equalize things in the name of equality. Okay, but most people don't realize that if you study history and if you go to, we have the right-wing end of the spectrum going bad, right-wing ideology going bad in Germany in the 1940s and 30s, right? Hitler, okay, white supremacy.
Oh,
okay.
You said the name. How long did it take?
Oh my God, here we go. The chat's gonna blow up. Then on the left-wing ideology, we have, historically speaking, examples of communist China and the Soviet Union.
Okay.
Right, but the left-wing ideology is more poisonous and it's more of like a virus that spreads slowly. One step at a time, the country starts to change. And it takes decades before a whole country switches over to this extreme left-wing ideology where their whole economy is run on equality and flattening the hierarchies completely, right? They brainwash their citizens with propaganda, making them think that in the name of equality, government should be allowed to have extreme power, come in by force, and equalize things, right?
Okay.
So you're suppressing the people who are talented or work hard, and you're elevating the people who don't really deserve to be elevated. Okay. Okay. Now, inequality is also a problem. I know I'm rambling on right now, but inequality is also a problem because if there's too much inequality, the system becomes unstable, which is why we have a need for the left-wing end of the spectrum.
Yeah.
Right. So, but there's a balance, and the left today in America has gotten a little bit too crazy.
Well, the ideas they put forward are a little unattainable, unrealistic, right? Yeah. So what they want to do, here's some of the ideas that I've heard. Free college.
Yeah.
Right? That's eliminated all hierarchies altogether. What else? Free healthcare.
Free healthcare.
That's another type of radical idea, because if you do free healthcare, the quality of just medical care in general would go down
so significantly. So significantly.
Like becoming a doctor is like not even worth it, to be honest.
Yes.
If it's just everyone gets the same amount of healthcare in general.
Mm-hmm.
So those radical ideas, why is it so appealing? That's my real question.
So it sounds good.
It sounds good.
Look at it. I mean, think about it. Free education.
In theory, it sounds great.
Free college.
Yeah.
Or free college, free education, free healthcare.
Free healthcare.
That sound like, to someone who is very compassionate and emotional,
yeah,
but not rational, those ideas sound like they're the right way to go.
Well, and someone who's been cheated, or they feel like they've been cheated by the current system.
Oh, true.
The hierarchy.
That too.
Maybe they're lower in the hierarchy, or
yes. People are on the lower end of the hierarchy, 100%. Yeah. They want to equalize things.
They want to shut down the whole hierarchy altogether.
100%.
Yeah.
You're naturally going to get people who are dispossessed at the bottom of the hierarchy. Jordan Peterson talks about this.
Naturally.
You have to find a way to properly deal with those people. And what I know sounds bad, like deal with them. No, not deal with them like that, but like give them a good enough life so that they can actually at least live.
Yeah.
But where is that line? Right? Because if you really think about it, everybody in America today, almost everyone, maybe not homeless people, but even the people at the poverty line live way better than the top part of society did 100 years ago.
Sure.
Humans have gone through so much misery and pain, and you're telling me you're suffering today? Why don't you go to India or China or Africa? You'll see real suffering.
There's that argument too. It's like you don't know what it's like, or how you don't know how good you have it in respect to, other countries.
Right.
and how the shit
and our ancestral history.
That is true. Yeah. So nowadays, I feel like it's safer now than it was like a few decades ago, probably. In respect to reduced crime, more opportunities for a lot more individuals in respect to education, and even online, because there's so many opportunities to be or to rise a hierarchy status online. So like YouTube, other types of skills that you can acquire.
Yeah.
But the idea is more opportunity. So back then that wasn't really available. So technology nowadays is really, it's a blessed thing. How it's given everybody connection to the real world, and how it's improved a lot of institutions, standard of living too. So it's a great thing.
It's a great thing.
But most people now, especially on the left, are like, we
don't have perspective.
It needs to change. Right.
It needs to change because they're only looking at what the person next to them has versus what they have.
Yeah.
They're like, why does this person have more? This person next to me has more.
Yeah, that's true.
So you're going to get inequalities, but overall, everyone is benefited from it, right? Yep. It's just that some people are going to have a lot, some people will have a lot less, but even the people who have a lot less still have a lot more compared to their history, ancestrally speaking, and other countries. Yeah. So then the question becomes, where's that line? Because you can go 100, 200 years down the road, and pretty much everyone is going to be living at least somewhat comfortably, right? Yeah. Technology is going to be great. Automation will have kicked in like crazy, to the point where humans might not even have to work like these tedious jobs,
Yeah.
That robots can do.
That are very repetitive.
Exactly. And then the progression will just skyrocket, and things will become so much cheaper. Things will become so much more. They're going to produce a lot more goods and services,
More
right?
available, yeah.
So where is that line drawn? Because at that point in the future, then you're still going to get people. You're always going to have people who are going to say, "Oh, that guy has more than me. That's unfair." We got to revolt, man. We got to have revolution here.
Yeah.
Even if we have a lot, like, why does that guy have more than me? We need to equalize things, you know?
Yeah, that's a good point. I want to check the phone real quick.
Sure.
To see that it's not gonna blow up.
Yeah.
So as we were saying, yeah, we have it good here in America.
Yes.
I mean, look at us. We have the free time to sit here on a bench
Yes.
and just talk.
That was made by someone.
That was made by someone, and it's still here. And I got a bag of chips I'm gonna open.
Yes.
Make
Which
it
was packaged by a company
That is true.
that was trying to maximize its profits, minimize its costs.
Such a capitalist you are.
But it provided you the chips that you were looking for.
That is true.
Do kids in India and Africa have chips like that?
Not ones that are unbelievably unfried. According to this.
Man.
So yeah, I mean,
I'm not
I
saying,
can't-
by the way, that
Okay.
we're like, we should go on the complete capitalist end. I'm just saying that
sure.
there needs to be real
Free market.
rational debate about it without getting rid of the free markets, you know?
Sure.
I agree that, you know, there are some people who are so dispossessed at the bottom of the hierarchy that they need help. You know, like homeless people, they need opportunities. You need equality of opportunity, right?
Yeah.
You need to at least give them a shot at like if they're so dirty on the streets, like they can't even go into a job interview, like give them facilities so they can shower, you know, eat a little bit of something, sleep the night before and prepare for the interview or something, right? Give them the bare amount that's just necessary to lift off themselves, right? That's equality of opportunity.
Yeah.
Those are things that government should provide, and I would be willing to pay taxes for. But it just have debates, you know, like talk to people. The problem is like most people don't want to talk nowadays. They just want to argue about morality and sexism and racism, and it's like, dude, you're
Identity
such a
politics in general.
it's such a low resolution image of life.
Yeah. Twitter should rename itself to Identity Tweets.
Identity politics tweets.
That's pretty much what the whole platform is nowadays.
Yeah.
It's kind of sad. The
Yeah.
whole idea of free think
everything.
platforms. It doesn't exist anymore. It doesn't. And that's why I'm on social media,
No.
because it's so polarized.
Oh, by the way, let's talk about this real quick. Free college, right? That's assuming college, first of all, is the answer to the future. Automation is going to be kicking in soon.
Yep.
We need to train people to move jobs or take on an entrepreneurial route. Okay. Not be educating them, assuming that college is the answer. Because college has gotten so competitive, there's so many people heading into the college arena. And those people, I think, what was it, like 50% of college graduates don't get a job after college?
Is it that high?
Something like that. That's what
scary.
Joe Rogan was saying.
Oh, wow.
It's insane. It's insane. Yet people continue to say college is the answer. Okay. I've actually taken an economics course where we talk about, and this, surprisingly, this class was actually very leftist. Okay, one of the few leftist classes in economics that I've taken. And it talked about how to develop poor countries, like countries in poverty, how to develop them economically.
Yeah.
You need a balance of free markets, government, and NGOs, which are non-governmental organizations, okay? It's like a three-legged stool. You need a little bit of each. And I agree with that, actually. Right, you need government to come in and set laws like private property rights. You need things that are going to protect you from theft, essentially. The police that are going to keep the order. And
It keeps the security, yeah.
Yeah, it keeps the security. And somewhat of a military, maybe, right? And firefighters and whatever. And then you have free markets, which should be able to develop products and give services to society.
Yep.
Point being, in this class, we talked about education, and we talked about how more education, free education is not the answer. In this class, we even talked about it. They say after 8th grade, we do a cost-benefit analysis. You know what that is? Cost benefits is where it's essentially like if the cost is higher than the benefit, we shouldn't even take that. It's not rational, right? So they did a cost-benefit analysis in this study. It's after 8th grade at which the cost for paying for free college goes above the benefit.
Right. So it's not even worth it.
Exactly. So technically, we should actually stop free schooling at 8th grade if you want to save money that way.
Interesting.
But people say like, okay, well, the cost is worth it to have people graduate until the 12th grade because we need basic education up to the 12th grade at least. Okay, well, that can be somewhat reasonable unless you factor in that benefit into the cost-benefit analysis. Okay, if you did, then technically that would not be a good choice. But the higher and higher you go in grade level and education, the more the cost shoots up and the more the benefit goes down.
Sure.
For paying for free college or free the education, right? So really, free education is this whole idea of like, you're already in a losing battle.
Yeah.
Assuming that education is the way of the future. Okay. Which, I mean, certain fields we're always going to need, right? Like lawyers, doctors, engineers, whatever. But there are certain fields like gender studies and whatever, which have difficult time getting jobs, right? These majors. These,
I love how that's always the token
the go-to,
of not getting a job.
Lesbian dance theory, according to Ben Shapiro. God. So, okay. Now, if we, what was I talking about? Okay, so realistically, college, and even in the textbook it said this, any candidate who says free this, free that, watch out for those people.
Yeah.
Every time they use the word free, replace it with the F word.
Fuck.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, he literally, it's a trick almost. It's like where the money has to come from somewhere. It's an idea that sounds nice. It may be achievable.
Right.
But is it worth it?
Well, it's an institution that you care about, right? So you wouldn't put the proof that you care about it is that you put some sort of input into it, which is, guess what? Money.
Yeah.
Some type of institution that can thrive on building upon a foundation.
Yeah.
If you wanted to be free, most likely it won't progress as you want it to. Or probably will progress. So Degress. So yeah. Watch out. I agree.
So
free anything.
It's just like, maybe you should make it a little bit more affordable for certain people, but we have already done that. Community college.
That's true. Yeah.
That's like 2-3 years of college.
There is a way for education.
Yes, yeah, you just have to there are ways to pay for college, And if you can't necessarily afford a college, well, there's other opportunities too, right? You can still go down that route. You can maybe delay a year, save up, go get a job, save up money, right? And use that towards loans or whatever.
Right.
Typically, there's all these grants and stuff like that, like Cal grants and.
Well, the idea is that there's a bunch of different methods you could execute.
Yeah.
On if you really want to get a better education, there are ways.
Yes.
But a lot of people that are listening would argue that there's hardly any opportunity out there for a lot of individuals.
Right.
Because they're stuck in this economic system that doesn't give them the most benefits that they should.
Right.
So you have people working like 2 to 3 jobs just to get by. They have a family to also provide for. You have a bunch of Americans who can't they can't really pay off an unexpected expense of $500 or more.
Right.
So there's a lot of things to worry about in respect to just staying afloat economically and financially.
Yes, I agree. And what's funny, I think we should have education should be geared more, there should be at least one class teaching financial security or something like that. How to save money, how to spend money, things like that. And I feel like a financial education course would help people, just one course, would help people down the line. A lot of people. Yeah,
most people don't really know how to go about finance in general.
Yeah.
Because it can be complicated.
Yeah.
It really can. You're not taught that during high school.
No.
In high school, they teach you something very completely different.
They teach you chemistry.
They teach you algebra 2.
Algebra 2. Vectors and...
Calculus BC.
Yeah.
So it's a different type of education they provide in respect to the education for the real world.
Yeah.
So they really don't teach you a lot of what you really need to know.
Yeah.
Because when it comes to the workforce, they're not really going to care what grade you got on your final exam for Algebra 2.
Seriously.
Or they're not going to care about what your project for, or what your final project for chemistry was.
Yeah, it's like, can you do the job that we're giving you?
So yeah, do you meet these qualifications?
Yeah.
We have 10 minutes, right? I'm going to talk to the next guy.
Yes.
That's how it is.
I feel like people make the judgment very easily based on what school you went to or what GPA you have, because that determines your capability of, let's say, for example, getting good grades. Well, how do you get good grades? You work hard, you study
I got
hard,
into the school,
and
right?
you're intelligent, right? And I was able to get into a top tier school or whatever, right? But so I guess they judge very quickly on that, and they say, okay, well, this guy must be qualified. But all the work that you did is not going to be applicable. We just want to see you do work and learn stuff. And the faster you can learn it, the better you can pick it up, and the higher your grades are, the more capable of an individual you are in general.
Right.
You know, so I guess that's what they base it off.
And the workforce is such a different dynamic than the academic dynamic in general.
Mm-hmm.
So in the workforce, you have to learn how to adapt, possibly on a daily basis.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a very demanding type of field, depending on where you want to go into. It's not just you go to class for like an hour and a half and you go back to your dorm or something like that. It's not just like you do a couple of research papers and then you call it a day, or you call it a semester. Companies are very demanding. Workforces is very brutal in most fields.
Work politics is also pretty brutal.
That is true. And you have to learn how to work with other people, unfortunately. That's unavoidable.
You gotta learn some social skills.
How to communicate and how to benefit from working in a group. Because it's not just going to be just a you. So, universities are very disconnected from the workforce in general.
Right.
And from companies and the latest industry standards, probably. And that's a real problem. It really is.
Right. I agree. It's a complicated thing, but we have to have discussions, right?
Yeah.
I just hate how Bernie Sanders, for example, is going to be all about free healthcare, free college. It's like, okay, free healthcare, that's understandable. Like, okay, I can get that. But free college, dude, that's going to be a freaking drastic waste of money now. I think, especially with automation.
I don't think it can work because it's such a big institution to control and manage in America.
Right.
So if it were free, the level of quality would change across different states. So, with the states with the most people, they would decrease the quality drastically. So like colleges in California would, I don't know, be overfilled and they would be, I guess, vacated of all the professionals in most universities because they're not getting paid as well as they used to, right?
Right.
So they're going to exit the universities and the quality of that university is going to go down.
Right.
So it's not a good idea in America.
Yeah.
I think it needs to stick with that current capitalistic format.
Okay. Format,
that is stuck with.
My English teacher in the 9th grade asked this question to the class. He said, what was this saying? He said some saying about like every empire falls. The Roman Empire every great empire in history has fallen at one point.
Yeah.
America is the longest running, most successful empire so far, if you call it an empire, let's say. The Empire Strikes Back. But
Star Wars. Go ahead. Sorry.
We're
cool.
His question to the class was, do you think one day America will follow the same route? What do you think?
I think when it comes to big empires in general throughout history, if an empire stands against an issue together or like from the outside, even if they get demolished, they can rise again. But if an empire crumbles from within, they can never rise again.
Right.
So when it comes to America, if we end up stripping away all the institutions within America that really matter to individuals. So if they're going to change the academic institution for the worst, if they're going to change the political institution for the worst, or even the economic institutions, no one's going to really benefit if that whole institution is just tearing itself apart.
Right.
So it's going to break down America as a society,
So
or
yeah.
as a country.
So you think the polarization process that we're going through is what might cause more of a downward shift?
Down the line, I'm not too sure, to be honest.
Okay.
I'm not going to say flat out that, you know, America's going downhill and that we're going to crumble.
If anything, we're going uphill.
That is true.
I just saw today on the news, the U.S. consumer confidence is at an 18-year high.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's pretty confident.
That's pretty confident, man. Pretty confident.
What does that mean? You can walk into the Target and buy anything you want? Or?
I don't know what that means, generally speaking, man. That's funny. I'll tell you this, though. I had a few people who were like, Donald Trump is going to crash the economy when he was first elected, right?
Oh, yeah?
I was like, okay, dude, relax. That's the reason that, you know,
Or the people who said they're going to move to Canada. All right, dude, relax.
Yeah, yeah. It's like, okay, if you want to go to Canada, by all means, go. I'm staying right here, dude.
Dude, calm down. Not so much.
Or some people were like, dude, California should secede from the nation.
It should,
It's like,
remember, I think it was a representative or some other official. They wanted to split California into 3
states.
provinces. Yeah. It's kind of weird. There was like northern, middle, and southern.
Yeah, it was like North California, South California, and just California. God.
So many changes that people want to do. It's crazy. This will work in theory. This is gonna fix America by splitting it up.
I think a good chunk of one of the major reasons I like Jordan Peterson is because his approach is not to change the system. His approach is not to change the outside. It's to go to the very bottom level and change the individual. Each individual will make up a part of society, and if individuals all together start to group and fall under groupthink or group effect, they start to think in certain ways that will lead to the downfall of the empire in the future. Mm-hmm. So they say success breeds laziness, or whatever it is, right?
Okay.
Where if you have to work hard to get up to the top, the successive generation doesn't understand what that hard work was like. So to maintain it, they can't. They don't know what it's like. So, boom, end up falling. So he says, you know, so people nowadays need to take more responsibility, which will teach them hard work ethic and whatever else, right? Which, if his message gets across, which it is to a lot of people, it will have a drastic effect down the line for Americans on the individual level.
Sure.
More people will be taking responsibility. More people will be working as a productive member of society, and that will give them meaning in life, and that will make them more productive, you know, just generally speaking.
Do you think individuals now are going through a crisis in respect to, you know, self-worth or self-esteem?
I think a lot of people are.
Work productivity?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they are too.
Yeah. I think a lot of the reason is because, you know, they say the millennials are so entitled. And I would say that that's true for the most part.
I've never heard of a generation so messed up, according to the media, than the millennials. There's article after article, like, millennials are they're doomed.
Or Gen Z, I think it is.
Oh,
the generation after millennials, they're even worse.
That's what they're saying. They're so hooked on like technology, and they're so lazy or something like that.
They have like phones at like age of like 5 now. It's like you get a smartphone. It's like
pretty crazy.
Let's get you on social media. Let's get you all those followers and post like bikini pictures at age 5.
Kids are not gonna know what it was like to not have iPhones. That's crazy. We lived in a world where iPhones like didn't exist.
Yeah.
Phones existed, but not the iPhone.
Yeah.
Which really revolutionized the whole idea of social media.
Yeah, I think people are going through a self-esteem issue because we, by nature, compare ourselves to other people, and status is a built-in. There's a mechanism, right? Serotonin and all that controls how you perceive yourself in relation to other people.
Yeah.
And that it relates to your happiness, right?
Yeah.
So you're always comparing yourself to people to see where you lie on the status spectrum and whatever, on the status hierarchy. And people typically at the bottom of this hierarchy are miserable, and they're in a positive feedback loop in the negative direction. Meaning bad things happen to them, which causes them to lose confidence, which causes more bad things to happen to them, which it just repeats in a cycle, right? Positive feedback loop, but in the bad direction. You want to have positive feedback loop in the right direction.
Yeah. Well, the snowball effect downhill is much more chaotic than or it's much more easier for the snowball effect uphill.
Than uphill, yeah.
So it's harder to
go uphill. 100%, I agree. And so, yeah. What was I going to say?
Well, I think because most articles I've read about millennials are marriage is decreasing. They're much more lazier in respect to the workforce or the work ethic. They're much more entitled, and they are the most depressed generation of all time, apparently. All these different articles coming out that are just really sad. They're just really, they're shitting on millennials in general. Like, oh, they're the reason why marriage is, ruined, and they're the reason why, the politics is so polarized or so chaotic.
Yeah.
I've never heard of this type of generation being so powerful in respect to like changing the dynamic of society.
100%, and I think that was drastically increased because of social media.
Oh, big time. Yeah, the rate of comparison or the rate of connection is too much for people to handle.
Way too much.
Yeah.
Way too much. On top of that, it's like you're always posting. You get dopamine hits from the validation
dopamine
of
is
people liking your post about like, I'm so moral, I'm gonna go on Facebook and post about the inequalities that racism causes, and not to say that that's not true, but even if they exaggerate it, it's like, have you heard of an echo chamber?
Somewhat.
Okay, so echo chamber is this idea where, there's diagrams online you can find. Echo chamber is where you have an idea, you spread this idea. It's the initial input of this idea, okay, in the system, in the echo chamber. You spread it to your friends. Your friends aren't thinking because they just want to fit into the group. They're part of the group effect. It's part of the human nature.
Sure.
So they're like, oh wow, that sounds really education. That sounds like a very educated opinion. Systemic racism, this, that. They don't really think about any other alternative, right? So they think, okay, wow, this must be an educated opinion, especially if universities are giving it and professors are teaching it.
Yeah.
They're not taught to question what they're taught. They're taught to just accept whatever they're taught and learn it and repeat, like chickens following another.
Yeah.
Well, the chicken
just
doesn't
calling
know
you
where it's
chickens,
going.
by the way.
Yeah, you guys are all chickens. Just kidding. Just kidding. It's a joke. It's just some words.
We're done, by the way. Canceled. Go.
This YouTube's going to take our podcast now.
They are. Yeah. No free thinking.
Oh yeah. Seriously, no freedom of speech, man. Nope. Because we're all haters and we're all part of hate speech now.
Apparently so. Apparently the internet's just full of hate.
Yeah.
And you need to cancel anybody who portrays that hate in general, like Alex Jones.
Yeah.
Yeah. A man who has no degrees. People take him seriously.
Yeah, seriously, man. Oh, God. So, I wasn't going to say.
You were talking about the echo chamber.
Yes, echo chamber. Your friends repeat the idea. Your friends also want to get that same validation. They want to seem like they're really involved politically. They want to seem like they're very uprighteous and moral and that they're following the trends of the world.
Yep.
So they post it on social media.
Why not?
So then that gets spread out to their friends. And then because nobody verifies this information, nobody thinks for themselves.
Yep.
A good chunk of these people start to believe what they're told because the rapid spread of this information through the platform of Facebook and Twitter, right? Or Instagram too. So you hardcore play into the group effect. And you have this idea reaffirmed by biased news outlets, which then spread the news to your friends and you, which again, it's just like a cycle. It's an echo chamber.
Yep.
And the initial input of an idea that goes against your idea doesn't even get in because you've already spread this idea so much And people are not naturally going to question what they believe because they think they're smart, and they're going to, whatever they know is what they know, that they're smart.
Yeah.
They don't want to have to, the brain, okay, there's a science behind this, right? For the brain to reevaluate and rethink something, it takes energy. It takes effort, mental effort.
Yeah.
Okay, and if you read Daniel Kahneman's book, Thinking Fast and Slow, he talks about 2 systems that the brain has and how it functions, right?
Yeah.
So, System 1 and System 2. System 1 is all the automated, easy processes, like when you're driving a car.
Yep.
You don't even realize you're driving. You go from one destination to another. You're like, how the fuck did I get here?
Yeah.
That's System 1. System 2, it takes more of a controlled effort. It's like
like doing the dishes, maybe?
Yeah, maybe, but even that can become a part of System 1. It can
Yeah.
be transferred into System 1.
System 2, like studying, maybe?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, studying, that's what it is. Reading a book. And if you're really paying attention, that requires System 2 to really think, right?
Think, yeah.
And thinking, using System 2 requires mental effort, which we have limited amount of, and that's been proven in many studies. So to reevaluate your beliefs takes a hell of a lot more thinking than to just confirm your beliefs to believe in this echo chamber.
What's System 3? Like extreme thinking?
It's actually, there's no System 3.
Oh, there isn't?
There's no,
oh,
there is
wow.
no System 3. Yeah, it's just System 1 and 2.
People have not reached that far.
We have not reached that far.
Thinking.
We have not evolved into that space of thinking yet. I mean, even if we did, that would just be the extreme end of System 2, probably. You know?
Probably.
Yeah.
Like the most amount of thinking.
Yeah, something like that.
Like a debate, probably. Who knows?
Maybe, yeah. But they've done all sorts of research about how the pupil dilates when you're using System 2 because you're using so much effort.
Yeah.
How glucose is what regulates that System 2 functioning. It gives you more mental effort work.
It's a lot of effort. Like even after like an hour and a half or 2 hours, you get really hungry.
Yes.
After that kind of System 2 thinking.
Yeah, you just get tired in general.
You get tired, yeah.
Yeah. So most people don't do this. Most people don't want to take the time to reevaluate, to take what you know from this box and put it into this box. Especially when the rest of society, or it seems like the rest of society, is already agreeing with what you're saying. So it requires, I don't want to say a high IQ, because I don't want people to be like, you know, like, oh, if I don't have a high IQ, like I'm not going to reevaluate my beliefs. But I think smarter individuals, more intelligent individuals will tend to always question their beliefs, you know?
Right. It gives them much more of a maintenance, to be honest. If you have a higher IQ, you are much more comfortable in the System 2 than most other people.
Probably. I'm assuming so.
Yeah.
And that probably means you're able to handle a lot more of workload and mental power and thinking, right? So anyways, so if you're to get out of this echo chamber, it takes a lot of mental work. You have to do your own research, which most people don't do research. They're not going to sit there and research politics. They're going to go and, like, I don't know, Netflix or something. You know, they're going to listen to podcasts. Like, so they're going to go online to see what their friends are up to. Or they're going to go to, you know, watch Game of Thrones or whatever. Yeah. I'm not saying that that's a bad thing. You can take your time.
It's a bad thing. Game of Thrones is a bad thing. It's sad.
But it is important, but I feel like it's a difficult process for people to take. And they have to learn the hard way because they have to go through it to really understand it.
Okay.
Most people are not going to go and study Maoist China or the Soviet Union and what led to the Bolsheviks and the Mensheviks, the whole revolution that started, you know, and Karl Marx's ideology being spread throughout Germany and Russia. They're not going to go study all of this stuff, history, and learn the lessons from it. It's boring. How many kids want to learn history, you know? Unless you make it fun.
Unless you do make it fun, yeah.
But... last point. I know I'm rambling on, but last point. I think that's it. Literally, I think that's it. For people to people need to be taught to question their beliefs, even if the rest of the world is throwing one message at them and showing on social media that this is the reality. You know, if you question this, you're stupid and you're not only stupid, you're immoral. Because if you don't think that there's systemic racism or sexism or whatever, you must be an idiot. And you must be immoral also. Because look at all this academic research that proves that this is the case. Yeah. Well, I mean, do you think academic research is always correct? No, there's a hierarchy of scientific evidence. We talked about this before too. Yeah. You know, so scientific evidence does not necessarily mean it's true. You have to question that. That's true science. You see?
True science.
All right, I'm done rambling. I got pissed off there for a second, so I was like on a ramble.
He's thought about this for quite a bit, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, actually, the system 1 and 2 thing I just thought of right now.
Oh, wow.
Literally on the spot.
Literally on the spot.
Literally on the spot. That's my conclusion about why people have a tough time reevaluating their beliefs.
Yeah. People are stuck in the matrix in system 1.
Yeah, yes,
They need to get into
because it's
system 2.
easier. And we have something called a lazy controller, which
Oh,
is
yeah?
part of the book. That's the lazy controller. Anytime we can use system 1, we will. If
Oh,
we don't
yeah.
have to use system 2, we will not.
That's what most working class people are in.
Yeah.
So if that gives you the paycheck, stay in system 1.
It's done, yes.
Yeah.
In system 1. It's
Gets the job
easier,
done.
less effort. It's called a lazy controller. But yeah, that's what it is.
Not to say that people are lazy. It's just, jobs do get repetitive
Yes.
every now and then.
Yes.
So yeah, because that is very interesting. Most people online, especially on the social media, maybe they're not even considering that they can be in system 2 in general.
Yeah.
So,
Or really think about it.
it's so amplified, the ideas of identity politics and all of these confirmation bias articles coming out, that their voice can't be heard because it's so echoed across the chamber. In this case, the social media.
Right.
So, one person is not going to change a group on Facebook that, abortion is not all that it is and that you should consider pro-life or something like that.
Right.
He's gonna get shut down real quick.
Mm-hmm.
So, the masses, it's a big thing. It's a very social type of power factor
Yeah.
that the Democrats have really perfected.
100%.
Yep.
Yeah. This is why I like Andrew Yang.
Yeah, he's very to the point, and he's very logical about the economic, I guess, depravity in America.
Yeah. In the oncoming storm of automation.
That's true. He constantly talks about automation in the book that I'm reading.
Yeah.
The War on Normal People.
The War on Normal People.
Yep, by Andrew Yang.
By Andrew Yang?
Extensively talks about automation, technology advancements, and how it's going to replace a lot of just fields in general.
Yeah.
So they're looking to, just a couple examples, they're looking to replace baristas in Starbucks and different coffee shops. Not Starbucks they haven't said that per se, but they're building machines that will pretty much replace the jobs. You already see this with McDonald's and other fast food companies. They're going with automated tellers. Yeah.
They're gonna have robots making our food eventually.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the idea of you can sustain yourself on your repetitive job is going to be changed because a robot can easily replace you.
Yeah.
Because we've reached a point in technology where AI has become so advanced and so deep into machine learning that it will be able to change the workforce overall.
Yeah.
It'll be more productive, more reliable. It'll produce a lot more.
Yeah.
So it's all about efficiency when it comes to those types of jobs.
Yeah.
Because all you can really do is do your task repeatedly and to maximize the amount of product, I guess, you can give. So in fast food places like, Subway, Chipotle, other places like maybe even In-N-Out, who knows, very repetitive jobs that can easily be
Automated. 100%.
Truck drivers, store tellers or store cashiers. Just those simple jobs, those honest working jobs. They're in danger. They really are.
No, I agree. Do you think if it was Donald Trump versus Andrew Yang, what do you think would win?
If Andrew Yang gets up there.
Yeah, if he does.
If he does.
Who knows?
It's kind of unlikely because
Yeah.
most Democrats wouldn't even side with him because
Yeah.
he doesn't really play the identity politics game.
Yeah.
And I guess most Democrats are addicted to that kind of.
Yeah.
If it was against Trump and Andrew Yang, I don't know, man. That's a good battle. It really is.
Yeah. I would, yeah, that would be a good battle. I don't know who. I really don't know who would win.
I think it'd be Andrew Yang.
Really?
I think so.
Yeah, if in a debate, yeah, it probably would be Andrew Yang. If I think the debates and how the debates would go, I think Andrew Yang would destroy Donald Trump. Not necessarily because of the framing and everything. I think Andrew Yang is just so calm. Even when he gets like bashed on or have like hard questions thrown his way, he stays calm and he just throws the stats back. He's like, okay, well, according to this stat, we got this, we got this, we got that. Hillary was so fake, dude. Hillary was so fake. If you watched did you watch the debates?
I did. Yeah.
I thought she was so fake, dude.
It was just a show.
It was a
really
show,
like a debate.
dude. Smile, like Donald Trump's like throwing insults at her. She's like, I'm just like, are you kidding me, dude?
It's so strange.
Like, it wasn't even like a non-reaction. You could tell like she was pissed off about it too, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know, that's just what I thought.
Jeez. Politics nowadays has become it's become entertainment.
Yeah.
Ever since Trump came into office.
Yeah.
Just how you can, make people laugh or make people riled up the most. Yeah. That will get you the most attention. And it's the most childish approach, too. People fell for it, too. Jeez. That's amazing, though.
Yeah.
You can't deny that, how amazing Trump was on manipulating the media, on saying things that will get the most attention.
Yep.
How he won the presidency.
That's one thing I wanted to talk about real quick. So I'm going to be talking about on one of my upcoming videos on my channel about the negativity bias.
Oh, okay.
So the negativity bias, I think that plays, part of the research was that it plays a lot into politics. Conservatives typically have a higher negative bias, negativity bias. Liberals have there's been research done on this, a lower negativity bias.
Sure.
The higher negativity bias, meaning like they put more weight on the negative interpretations or whatever, right? So conservatives are more on that end. They have a higher negativity bias, meaning they want to keep social order and they're all about threat reduction. Higher military, borders, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Because they're afraid that the world is going to come in and, destroy them or whatever, right?
It's going to be apocalypse.
Right? They're a higher negativity bias.
Yeah.
Liberals have too low of a negativity bias, where it's like irrational. It's like, okay, dude, like open borders, everyone come in, like it's like, okay, well, the system might be like destroyed after if you do it that way,
Yeah.
So there's a balance, right? But the negativity bias plays a big role in that. But Trump, okay, so what the research also found was that the novels that do the best, TV shows that do the best, they all play on the negativity bias. Take, for example, Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones, so they say the higher the emotional turmoil and the negative events that happen in the show, the more people want to watch it, because your brain is naturally tuned to pay more attention to negative information.
Right.
So we switch, Game of Thrones, perfect example, dude. The good guys, like, they get their heads cut off, whatever. Negativity. But we, for some reason, are addicted to it. We're like, oh shit, what's going to happen next?
Yeah.
Good guy doesn't always win, but our brains are more attuned to negative information. Same thing with Donald Trump. He played on that. He played hard on that. He's like, Mexico's sending their worst, their people. China's going to take over. And he's basically implanting all this negative information in people, exaggerating the problem, right? That's part of the tactic. Exaggerating the problem. And maybe he wasn't exaggerating the problem, but he might have slightly been, which would have been a good tactic anyways, whether he, did it or not.
Yeah.
Exaggerated the problem, then made himself the solution.
Yeah. He was a savior, and he was the only option.
Yes.
Apparently he was, because look at him now.
Look at him now. Oh, God.
Yep.
He played hard on that one. Yep. And he beat 17 other candidates with this tactic.
That's right.
But negativity, man. That's what it is.
People are much more responsive to that.
Yeah.
When their security is threatened, they end up being much more active than they never thought they would be.
Yeah.
And it just goes to show how much more politically active most people have become now, especially young guys.
Yeah, like us.
Like you and I. Most people in college. So yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe Trump was just what America needed.
Maybe, man.
Who knows?
Who knows?
Yeah. Well, what are we at right now? So we already have 1 hour in, and we are now at 40 minutes. So 1 hour, 40 minutes.
We were 1 hour in with the other one?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I guess we can call it an episode.
Yeah. Sounds good.
Cool.
Because we have some work to do, some editing. And yeah.
Cool.
Good episode.
Good episode.
All right. We'll see you soon.
We'll see you on the next one.
Bye.